Good morning, students. Myself, Pooja Sinha, your science teacher, welcome you to the class. Welcome to part 1 video of chapter 2, that is microorganism. Microorganism. In this chapter, we will study what are microorganisms, major groups of microorganism, economic importance of microorganism, beneficial microorganism, harmful microorganism, food preservation and nitrogen fixation. So, starting with microorganism. Does your mother say cover your mouth and nose when you cough or sneeze? Yes, do. But do you know why? To avoid spreading of germs. You should always cover your mouth and nose. Now, what are germs? Can we see them? Do they always cause harm to us? Are germs and microorganisms same? So in this chapter, we'll get all these answers. As we will move on studying through this chapter, these all the questions will be answered. What are microorganisms? A large number of tiny organisms that are present in soil and water and air. They are so small that we cannot see them with unaided eyes. That we cannot see them with naked eyes. We can see them only with the help of a microscope. These tiny organisms are called microorganisms or microbes. As the name suggests, microorganism. Micro means small, very tiny, and organism means living thing. So very tiny, small living things are known as microorganism. Discovery of microorganism. The discovery of microorganism is closely related to the advancement of microscope. As we have studied right now, that microorganisms are very small. They are so small that it cannot be seen with unaided eyes. That means only we can study about microorganism with the help of microscope. We could know all about microorganism only after the development of electron microscope. Anton von Leeuwenhoek discovered very small living creatures in rainwater using his own microscope. Louis Pasteur discovered microorganism in air. Now we'll move on to general characteristics of microorganism. Microorganisms are either single cell organism or a collection of undifferentiated cells. Microorganisms are found almost everywhere. They occur in air, they occur in water, they occur in soil, dead and decaying organic matter, and inside as well as on the body of living organism. They can exist in extreme conditions of temperature and drought, in hot water springs as well as in desert and marshy lands. During unfavorable conditions, microorganisms enclose themselves in hard resistant covering called the cyst. When environmental conditions become favorable, the cyst ruptures and microorganisms come out and multiply. So they can tolerate any conditions. For that, they have a hard covering on their body all around, and that is known as cyst to protect them from unfavorable condition. Microorganisms may be autotrophs, heterotrophs, saprophytes or parasite depending upon the nature of nutrition present in microorganism. Such as microorganisms which can prepare their own food are known as autotrophs, organisms that manufacture their own food by photosynthesis. So that type of microorganisms are known as autotrophs. Heterotrophs, those microorganisms which are dependent on others for their food. Saprophytes, organisms that contain their food from dead and decaying organic matter, are known as saprophytes. Then those microorganisms which depend on dead and decayed organic matter for their nutrition are known as saprophytes. Parasites, those who resides on other microorganism or other organism to derive food. Some microorganisms are helpful to us in agriculture and many industries. Some are harmful while others causes disease. This was all about the general characteristics of microorganism. We'll move on to knowledge desk. The study of microorganism is called microbiology. Microorganisms occur in the intestine of man and other animals too. They are commensal bacteria. They synthesize some B complex vitamins that help in the absorption of food. Bacteria living in caecum of rabbits, cows and buffaloes, that means ruminant animals, help in the digestion of cellulose. Termites can bore through wood only because cellulose digesting bacteria are present in their alimentary canal, that is food canal. So termites can bore through wood just because they have cellulose digesting bacteria in their alimentary canal. There are about 100 million bacteria in every gram of soil and about 500 million bacteria in the dead cells on our scalp. That means microorganisms are present everywhere. So, about the habitat of microorganism. Microorganisms are found practically everywhere and in all types of environment. They can be found in air, they are found in soil of various types, including soil of desert and marshy lands. They are found in water, including hot water springs, salty seawater, and ice cold water on the poles. They are also present on dead and decaying organic matter, as well as on the surface of the body of animals, including humans. Some microorganisms which grow on other organisms while others exist freely. Some of the microorganisms like amoeba can live alone while fungi and bacteria may live in colonies. So this was all about habitat of microorganism. Where microorganisms are found. What are the dwelling places of microorganism? Now we'll move on to major groups of microorganism. There are 5 major groups of microorganism such as bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa, viruses. Moving ahead with the groups of microorganism, we will study their habitat, size, shape, type of nutrition, reproduction in each of the following groups of microorganism. So the very first group is bacteria. Of all the microorganism, bacteria, singular, in the singular form, bacteria is called bacterium. They are the most abundant. They are the simplest of all living organisms. So where are bacteria found? What are their habitat? Bacteria are found almost everywhere on the earth. That is in air, water, soil, food products, and also in the bodies of other organisms. So what are the habitats of bacteria? They are found almost everywhere. Everywhere. On the food products also, on the bodies of organisms including human beings also. Now about size of bacteria. The size of bacteria varies from 0.2 to 100 micron. So what is micron? 1 micron is equal to 1/1000th of a millimeter. Shape of bacteria. The shape of bacteria varies greatly. On the basis of the shape they possess, bacteria can be classified as follows. Cocci, singular, it is called coccus. It is a spherical bacteria. You can see on the screen. It is a spherical bacteria. Bacilli, singular, it is called bacillus. It is rod-shaped bacteria. Spirilla, singular, it is called spirillum. This is spiral bacteria. Vibrio, comma-shaped bacteria. All type of bacteria, their shapes is given on the picture that is on the screen. You can easily see that monococci, diplococci, streptococci and staphylococci are the forms of spherical bacteria. Clostridium tetani is a spore-bearing bacillus, and Bacillus tuberculosis is a bacilli, flagellated bacillus. These are all types of bacteria based on their shape. Now next, aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. The bacteria which need oxygen for their growth are called aerobic bacteria. The bacteria which survive without oxygen are called anaerobic bacteria. So the bacteria which require oxygen for their growth, for various functions by metabolism of their body, so they are known as aerobic bacteria, and the bacteria which survive without oxygen are known as anaerobic bacteria. Now nutrition. Some bacteria are autotrophs, that is, they can prepare their own food by the process of chemosynthesis, a similar process to photosynthesis. Chemosynthesis is also a similar process just as photosynthesis. This is also a process to prepare food. Some bacteria obtain their nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter. Such bacteria are called saprophytes. Bacteria that obtain food from other organisms are called parasitic bacteria. Now we'll move on to reproduction in bacteria. Bacteria reproduce by binary fission. Most bacteria divide very fast. Escherichia coli divides every 20 minutes. Pseudomonas, a fast dividing bacterium, divides every 9.5 minutes. So, how does a bacteria reproduce? It reproduces by binary fission. Now, what is binary fission? The question comes to your mind that what is binary fission? Binary fission is a type of acellular reproduction. It occurs in unicellular organism such as bacteria. So what happens in binary fission? First, the nucleus of the parent cell divides into two daughter nuclei. This is followed by the division of the parent cell. Each half receives one daughter nucleus and forms a daughter organism. Thus, two daughter organisms are formed from one organism. This is known as binary fission, the process through which bacteria reproduces. This is also an example of or a type of asexual reproduction. So what is binary fission? This is followed by the division of the parent cell. Clear? First, in binary fission, the nuclei divides into two. Nucleus of the parent cell divides into two daughter nuclei, and that is followed by the division of the parent cell, and each half receives one daughter nucleus and forms a daughter organism. This process of reproduction is known as binary fission, and this occurs mostly in unicellular organisms such as bacteria. Now next group is fungi. Singular, fungi is called fungus. Are plant-like non-green multicellular organism. So what is fungi? They look like just plant. They are plant-like non-green multicellular organism. Some of them look like plant but do not have root, stem, leaves or flowers. As you can see on the screen. Some of them look like plants but they do not have root, stem, leaves or flowers. Some fungi like yeast are unicellular while others like mushroom, penicillium, toadstools, sponge, fungi, molds, and mildews are multicellular. Now, nutrition in fungi. Fungi are non-green plants and hence they cannot make their own food. So, they will be heterotrophs. They are either saprophytes or parasites. Saprophytes means those organisms which feed on dead and decaying organic matter. So the saprophytic fungi obtain food from dead and decaying organic matter over which they grow. They may be parasitic fungi, that means they will reside on other living organisms and derive their food from them. So parasitic fungi live in or on the body of living organism and derive food from them. They cause various diseases in plants and animals including humans. Now, reproduction in fungi. Fungi reproduce asexually by budding. Fungi reproduce asexually by budding. Now, the question comes, what is this? This is a type of reproduction, asexual type of reproduction, where a new organism is formed as an outgrowth from the parent. New organism is formed as an outgrowth from the parent of body. In Hydra, for example, in Hydra, a small bulge appears from the lower part of the body. This grows into a bird, detaches from the parent body and develops into a young Hydra. So this is the process of budding. Now, they also reproduce by forming dust-like spores, like in mushrooms and molds. Spores remains in the air and help in the dispersal of fungi to distant places. This is how fungi reproduce. Fungi reproduce either by forming budding, the process of budding, and it also reproduce by forming dust-like spores, such as in mushrooms and molds. Now we'll move on to activity 1. What is that? Aim to demonstrate that air contains spores of bacteria and fungi. So by studying this activity, you will understand that actually microorganisms are present everywhere, all around us. So material required, a petri dish, agar gel, sugar solution and a microscope. Procedure. Take a petri dish and put some agar gel in it. Pour some sugar solution on agar gel in the petri dish. Leave the solution open for few hours. Keep the petri dish in a dark and warm place and cover it. After a few days, you will see some spots on agar gel. What do they represent? Observe them under the microscope and try to identify their different types. Okay, what you need to do, will take a petri dish and pour some agar gel in it. Before the agar gel solidifies, what you need to do, will pour some sugar solution on the agar gel in the petri dish and leave the solution open for few hours. And after that, you will cover that petri dish and keep that petri dish in a dark and warm place for few days. After a few days, you will take out that petri dish, open it, and you will observe that there are some black spots present on the agar gel. What are those? These spots are colonies of bacteria and fungi. So, what do we conclude by studying this activity? This activity shows that the spores of bacteria and fungi from air get settled down on the agar plate, and they grow into colonies that appear as spots in the petri dish. So you have served agar gel and sugar solution in the petri dish. So this is the nutrition medium for the bacteria and fungi to utilize it and to grow. So while you kept that petri dish open, the spores of bacteria and fungi settled on that agar gel, and when you covered it and kept it in a warm and dark place, they started reproducing itself and they multiplied into great number, and after few days you were able to spot colonies of bacteria and fungi on the petri dish. This activity also proves that microorganisms are all present everywhere, all around us. Algae, singular called alga. So algae are simple unicellular or multicellular green plants. They may be filamentous or branched but do not have roots, stem and leaves. You can see them as green sheet like slippery mass floating on the surface of stagnant water. Habitat of algae. Algae live in water. Hence, they are called grass of water. They are found in ponds, lakes, seas and oceans. Some algae grow on moist soil or moist rock surface, forming a slippery green layer. So after rainy season, what you found on the surface of boundaries of wall and buildings, the green slippery velvety like grass that appears, that is algae. They are also called grass of water. What are their natural habitat? Algae lives in water. Now, pigments. In addition to green pigment, chlorophyll, some algae possesses blue, red or brown pigment. Based on the pigment present on algae, they are classified as green algae, red algae and brown algae. Green algae, Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogyra, Elothrix, etc. Red algae, Gelidium, Folisphonia, brown algae, Sargassum, Fucus laminaria, etc. So based on the type of pigment they possess, they are classified as green algae, red algae, brown algae. Now, nutrition. Algae are autotrophs. As they contain chlorophyll, they are able to prepare their own food. They are able to manufacture their food by the process of photosynthesis. So, what type of nutrition they have? They are autotroph. They have autotrophic nutrition. Next is protozoa. Protozoa, singular form protozoan, are the most primitive single cell microscopic animal. Amoeba, Paramecium, Euglena, Entamoeba and Plasmodium are some common protozoans. Most protozoan occur singly, but some form colony also. They do not possess cell wall as in plant cell. Their body is covered with pellicle. The outer covering of protozoa are known as pellicle. Their body is covered with pellicle. They can swim using either flagella or cilia or can move with the help of pseudopodia. So locomotory organ for protozoa are amoeba has pseudopodia. The locomotory organ of amoeba is called pseudopodia. Locomotory organ of Paramecium is called cilia and locomotory organ of Euglena is called flagella. So amoeba possess pseudopodia, Paramecium possess cilia and Euglena possess flagella for locomotion, to move from one place to another. Nutrition in protozoans. Protozoan have animal-like holozoic nutrition. That is, they capture food. Holozoic nutrition. What do you mean by holozoic nutrition? A type of nutrition in which capturing of food, digestion of food, assimilation occurs. This type of nutrition is known as holozoic nutrition. Some protozoans are parasites. That means they will reside on other organisms and derive their food from there. Parasitic protozoans feed on animals, cell and causes disease in man and domestic animals. So, parasitic protozoans, they causes disease in man and domestic animals. Now, next group is viruses. Viruses, singular it is called virus, are the smallest and the simplest acellular microorganism. What are viruses? Smallest and the simplest acellular microorganism. They have DNA or RNA molecule enclosed by a protein coat. This is the structure of a virus, that is tobacco mosaic virus, bacteriophage virus and HIV virus. So what a virus possesses, they have DNA or RNA molecule that is enclosed in a protein coating. Viruses remain inactive outside the living cell. So when a virus is outside a living cell, they are inactive. And when they enter a living cell, then and there they become active. They can be stored in the form of crystals. They can multiply only inside the living cells of their host. When introduced in the host, such as a bacterium or plant or animal, they multiply and produce harmful effect. Viruses are so tiny that they are seen with the help of an electron microscope only. Viruses are regarded as a connecting link between non-living and living beings because they behave as living inside the living cell and non-living outside the cell. So the question comes, why viruses are called connecting link between living and non-living things? Because they behave as living inside the living cell as they enter. When they are introduced into the host body, host cell, whether they are plant or animal or human being, then they behave as a living cell and they multiply and produce harmful effect. But when they are outside the host or human being body, then they act or behave as a non-living. So they are considered to be a connecting link between living and non-living things. So this was all about what are microorganisms, general characteristics of microorganism, habitat of microorganism, major group of microorganism, bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoan, viruses. So thank you for watching this video, and in part 2 we will study about economic importance of microorganism. Bye, have a nice day.